fresh fish.
So we're just gonna mix that up. It's a simple cabbage. I don't really do too much. Alright, what's going on, people? I'm back. It's me again. So back with another one to make some more food for you guys. First things first, I gotta shout out everybody, all the love and all the support from my last video. I never expected it to go so far, but you know, all the comments that you guys left me and all the likes and all the subscribes, I can't thank you guys enough. A lot of you guys in the comments left a message saying how I should have probably showed the process of the cabbage, and I never showed the process of the fish that I made. So that's what I'm gonna do for you guys today. So I'm gonna make some salmon. I'm gonna make the same way I did it before, so kind of like brown stew. I have some cabbage that I'm going to steam down for you guys. Got some roast breadfruit. So I got a lot today. With that being said, let's get everything going.
What Daddy gonna do? Breadfruit. Daddy cooking breadfruit?
Alright everybody, so I'm going to get everything going now. So like I said, I got some breadfruit that I'm going to roast today for you guys. So they're right here. I got 3. Not too bad. Not too big, not too small. I'm going to roast them right onto the coals, and then after it's done, you just peel them, cut them, and eat them. Some people fry them, but I'm just going to roast them and eat them today. Let's get the grill started and get everything going. Alright people, so got my charcoal here. I'm just going to add in some charcoal to the grill. This is what we're going to use to just roast our breadfruit. It's only 3, so you don't really need too much. Like I told you guys last time, the easiest way to get your grill lit is just to pour some oil onto a paper towel. Just pour the oil right onto the paper towel, any oil of your choice, and then just take the lighter and put it to it, and boom. That's it. That's all you gotta do. That's gonna keep burning like a candle, and then you don't have to worry about the lighter fluid or anything like that, because this will burn right the way that it should. So yeah, no lighter fluid, just go into the middle layer of charcoal, just put it right here, and boom, you don't have to worry about nothing else after that. That fire can't go out again. And just take your charcoal and surround it so all of it can catch. And then in about, I don't know, 10-15 minutes, then the coal will be ready to just put your breadfruit on, or if you're grilling meats, it'll be ready. Once it turns white, then you're ready to go. Alright, perfect. You can see the fire burning in the middle, and like I said, in about 10-15 minutes, then we'll be done with that. And then,
so it will catch everything?
yeah, it'll catch everything. All the charcoals that turn white, or once it starts to turn color, you could just mix it around so all of them catch, and then you're good to go. You can start your cooking. So I'm gonna go wash my hands, and then I'll be right back to show you the next step. Alright people, so we're gonna go on to the next part. So I got some nice, beautifully cut salmon from earlier. So fresh. They brought out a fresh whole salmon and just cut them up right in front of me. So this is what I'm going to use for my meal. So, but first, always we're going to wash our meat. So I got some lemons right here that I'm going to use. So I'm just going to cut it up and use the juice of the lemon inside of it. You know what, let me put a little bit of water first. So I'm going to put a little bit of water in here. Sometimes the reason why I'm putting the water first is because sometimes the acid from the lemon would somewhat cook the fish. So I just don't want that to happen. So that's why I'm doing that. So put some water in there, and we're just going to squeeze our lime. This will, you know, just clean up our fish, you know. It's a must. So we just use that and just massage them up. Get some, wow, these salmon look really good. And you can already kind of see what I'm saying about the acid. So I'm not going to wash them for too long. And we just dump them out. Just give it one more rinse in order to get any excess like lemoniness off of it. Alright, so we got our salmon washed up. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to pat our fish dry. And that's because when we are searing our fish, we'd want it to brown off nice. And if it's too much moisture on there, then you won't get that sear that you're looking for. So I'm just taking a paper towel and just patting them dry. You don't have to be too rough with it, but just pat them dry and get them good for browning. So just lay them out on our cutting board. Get a new piece of paper towel. Alright, so just like so, continue to pat dry our fish. You just want the seasoning to coat it nice, so when you put it into your pan, your skillet, then it just browns off nice and perfect for you. You don't want it to break apart. So that looks good, so stay tuned. Let me show you the next step. Alright people, so next step we're just going to season up our salmon. Good old Maggi all-purpose. I'm just going to use that, and I mean you can use any all-purpose seasoning that you want, or you know, anything to your liking, but I'm just going to use this. So we're just going to coat it and rub it in. So we're just going to coat our salmon with our seasoning. You know, salt to taste, so if you don't want it too salty, don't over season it. And you know, if you don't want it fresh, then make sure you season it good. And you could always add salt, but you can't remove it, just remember that. So just rub it in. It's gonna rub in on each side.
That looked good already.
And just flip them over and do the other side. So any excess that you have on your board, you could just sop it up so you don't waste anything. You could just do that, but let's just flip it over and do the other side. I'm gonna go with the all-purpose again. This side. There's fish seasoning that you could use. There's all type of stuff out there, but Maggi.
Isn't it a fish one in that brand?
Yeah, there's a Maggi fish brand. There's chicken. That's all type of stuff. All purpose. And season the sides too, so everywhere it gets seasoned. And so it could develop that nice crust that everybody loves. Alright, get the inside of the fish. Everywhere. You want everything seasoned. So that looks good. So like I said, we're going to sear these off first, and then once we sear that off, we're going to develop a sauce and just cook everything down, and that'll be like the gravy that we can use for our breadfruit and the cabbage to all mix in. Everybody's gonna love it. So all right, so let's check on see how our fire is doing for our breadfruit. All right, so we're just going to check on our charcoal. So like I was saying before, that once that paper towel is lit, which is the easiest thing, it'll have everything blazing. So you can see the fire starting to come up out of here and your charcoal starting to turn white. So that's a good sign. That's what you're looking for when you're trying to use charcoal. So I'm just going to mix it around a little bit. Alright, so just mix everything up so everything can catch. Pretty much. I mean, I could start to put on the breadfruit now. That's good enough to go. Forgot to show you what I did. So when you're dealing with the breadfruit, you see this side here is the stem, and all you want to do is just go onto the opposite side and make a cut like an X right into the top of it. So all of the fire and all the smoke could just seep right in between it. So that's all I did. Like I said, so the other side is the stem, don't forget, you're going to go on the opposite side of the stem and just make a cut right in between that, just to make an X, and this will just allow it to cook evenly, and then you just drop it right into your fire. So let me show you. So once you do that, it's time for roasting now, and we're just gonna drop our breadfruit right into the charcoal that we just lit. Now, see the X, so every so often we're going to rotate it so we don't burn, basically so we don't burn it on one side, because if you leave breadfruit on one side for too long or let it cook for too long, it'll get hard and you're gonna have to dig too deep into it and, you know, waste most of the breadfruit. So we just keep rotating it until it's cooked, and then you'll have some beautiful breadfruit to work with. Yeah, so we're just gonna let that go for a little while, and then let that cook up before we rotate it. And so stay tuned, and then we'll show you the next step.
So do we cover the grill or do we keep it open?
No, I'm gonna leave it open. I want my fire kind of to be as hot as possible. Yeah, people, so got the breadfruit on. It's already smelling good, and it's only been on for 5 minutes. They looking good. So like I said, when you letting the breadfruit roast, you just want to let them go, do its thing. Just let them cook on the fire. The charcoal will do everything for you. Just rotate them every so often, and you'll get a nice roast on your breadfruit. So yeah, I'm gonna start the fish now, and then that shouldn't take too long, because salmon, you know, fish doesn't take too long to cook. So I'm gonna get that salmon going. Just stay tuned, and we'll show you the next step. Alright everybody, so I'm gonna get everything going on to our next step. So we're gonna start the salmon. First thing we need to do is just heat up some oil, because the first thing that we're gonna do is just sear both sides of the salmon to basically lock in the flavor and give it some texture, and then we'll develop our sauce after that. So let's go. Alright, so we're gonna get everything going. Alright, so we're gonna light up our stove, and we don't want our fire too high because fish is something that's easy to burn. So we just want it up high enough and let it gradually get hot. So I'm gonna add in our oil. Today I'm using olive oil, but you can use any oil of your choice. We just want to put enough oil just to shallow fry it. We don't want to deep fry it. All we are trying to do is just get color on each side of the fish before we develop our sauce and cook it down. So let me let that get hot. We're gonna just flavor up our oil. So of course we gotta get some fresh pepper off the tree. So we got our Scotch bonnet pepper right here that I'm gonna use, and I'm just gonna drop that into the pot with some garlic, just to give our oil some flavor. Let's just get our pepper washed off. And I'm gonna just dry them off and drop them in. So we got our pepper washed off. We're just gonna drop it into the oil. Another thing that the pepper will do is allow you to know how hot your oil is. So once you start to hear that pepper frying, then you know that your oil is ready. So I'm just gonna let it build up, like I said, until it's done. And we just want to take like maybe, I don't know, 4 pegs of garlic and put it into the pot as well. Take our garlic and just smash it a little bit, just to release some of the fragrance, and it'd be easier to peel off the shell. So we're just gonna drop that into the pot. All right. So you can see the garlic and the pepper starting to sizzle, which is a good sign. That means our oil is almost ready. You have to make sure that your oil is hot, or else your fish will start to just break apart and it'll be a disaster. So just drop that in. Alright people, so while our oil is getting hot, I'm just going to prep some of the natural seasoning that we're gonna use for our food. So we got our onion right here. Just gonna take off the outer layer, and we're just gonna cut up our onions for later. So we got, just gonna cut up, you could either use half or a whole onion. I like a lot of onions, so I'm just gonna use one whole one. Do and comment, like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel in many ways. So just gonna cut our onions into there. The garlic and the onions are cooking up nicely. So I mean, not the onions, the garlic and the pepper is cooking up nicely just to flavor up our oil. So it's almost time to add the fish. Alright, so we also have a green bell pepper that we're gonna add into for our natural seasoning. So let me just give that a quick wash. I've just got our green pepper that I'm gonna add into it as well. This will be all part of our sauce. Alright, so that should be good. So just stay tuned and I'll show you the next step. Alright, so our oil is ready now. So we're just going to add in our salmon into the oil. So just put it in gently. You should hear it sear, and just give it a little move so it doesn't stick. And just let it sear. The oil could be a little hotter. I'm just going to turn it up. So just move around the oil. If it doesn't stick, then that's a good sign. So we're just going to let that fry up and sear on both sides. Looks like I can take two. Move it around and make sure it's not sticking. But these should be good. Could have probably used a little less oil, but that's fine. You could always dump out a little bit of oil before you make your sauce. Alright people, so let's just take a look at our breadfruit and see the progress that we're making. It's already smelling good, so it's looking alright. So I'm just gonna turn it and rotate it, and yeah, it's looking good. That coal is doing its job. See, you don't want to leave it too long, because if you leave it too much longer than that on each side, then it'll kind of start to burn. So just rotate it and make sure you just cook every part evenly.
So about how long you think it needs to stay on one side?
On one side, I would say rotate it every 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's looking good. Yeah, so once we finish roasting those, then we just peel it, cut it, add it into our plate, and that's it. You don't really have to do too much more. If you want, you could fry it, but today I'm not gonna fry it. I'm just gonna sear it. So, all right, stay tuned, and I'll show you the next step. All right, so let's just check on our salmon, and boom, beautiful. All right, people, so the first two that we did are seared off nicely, beautiful, came out beautiful, and we just got the last two to just do. So we're just gonna drop that in, boom, and then piece number two, right on top of the garlic. So the salmon, they sear off so fast that, I mean, 1-2 minutes and pretty much done. So we just keep it careful. Like I said, move it around a little bit to make sure it's not sticking. If it's not sticking, then that means your oil is pretty much hot enough. If it sticks, then it's not hot enough, and it'll be a pain trying to deal with that.
So you test it with the garlic and see how the garlic sears?
Yeah, so what I'd like to do is test it just drop another piece of garlic in and see how hot that garlic is. If it's burning way too fast, then that means your oil is too hot. And if it's burning too slow, then obviously your oil is not hot enough. So if it starts to fry right away, then you know. If that oil is frying perfect for the garlic, it'll fry perfect for your fish.
So what can we do if the oil is too hot?
If the oil is too hot, you could either turn down your flame or turn it off, let it come down to temperature, or just add a little bit of oil in order to even out the temperature. So my oil did start to get a little too hot, so I just added on a little bit of oil, and now it's perfect.
Okay.
Alright. Wow. Perfect. Maybe I could have left it on a little longer, so I'm just going to leave this one for like another 30 seconds longer. Alright, so let's flip the other one. And get up under it. You don't want to break your fish, that's why I'm using two different things. Let's flip it over. Beautiful. That's it. I mean, you kind of want a hard sear. You can't really, I don't know if you can hear that, but you can hear that the skin is getting nice and crunchy. You just want a nice texture on each side. So next step, so our breadfruit is coming out perfect. So take a look. It's looking good. Everything is coming out perfect and even. So you can see everywhere it's starting to roast. You want to get it like this all the way around so you know that it's cooked all the way through. So see that exposed part right here? Just make sure you get that into the fire as well, or the charcoal. Yeah, but this one looks like it's coming along perfect. Yeah, so maybe, I don't know, maybe another 20 more minutes and that's probably done. We're gonna get the cabbage started soon because this is almost done. Fish, it's almost time for us to start to make the sauce. Like I said, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell so you can get more notifications from us every time we upload a new video. And stay tuned, we're going to show you the next step. Alright, see that, people? So that's exactly what you're looking for. If you're able to, I don't know if you can hear it, but if you're able to rub that across and hear like a almost like that sound, then that means your texture is perfect. Listen. That means your texture is perfect. So that looks good. So I got all of my salmon here that I took out. We seared those off. So now I'm just gonna start to prepare the sauce and then just add everything all together so it could all cook up as one. It's gonna be so good, people. So make sure that you try this out at home. It's a quick, easy thing. If you don't feel like doing too much cooking at home, you'll be done with this in like 30 minutes. So just stick with us and we'll be right back. Alright, people, so we're going to get some natural seasoning for our pot. So we're going to get some thyme over here. Fresh thyme from the garden. So that should be good. Get that. And some scallion. We already got our onions. We already got our green pepper. We already got our scotch bonnet. So we just need scallion now. Alright, so we have a little bit of fresh scallion that's left over here. So we just grab that. And let me just go wash that up real quick. Alright, people, so it's time to start to get our sauce ready for the brown stew salmon. So we got our natural seasonings that we chopped up earlier, our onions and our green peppers, and that's gonna go in first. So we're just going to let that start to cook up. As you can see, I threw off most of the oil off of the fish, so we can get everything seared up. We don't want too much oil in the food, but you use some of the oil that you have from the fish to give it that nice salmon flavor. So we're just gonna let that cook up a little bit, and then we start to develop our sauce. Alright, so we're gonna just get the cabbage all sorted out and cut up for our steamed cabbage. So let me just show you. So I just got one cabbage that I cut in half already, and I'm just gonna cut it up. So you just wanna lay it off to the side and just give it thin cuts like that. Nothing crazy, just give it thin cuts like that to where they're just long and
uniform.
And uniform, right. So I'm just gonna give it
nice crunchy fresh cabbage. The fish is over here ready to be stewed. Smells so good next to the fresh herbs.
So I'm just put this up. Alright, so I'm just going to get all this cabbage cut up for you. Just stay tuned. I'll be right back. So we got our peppers and onions cooking up right now. I'm just going to add a couple pegs of garlic. So this is just going to be the base of our sauce. So we're just going to cook those up. Let those get a nice cook on them just to soften up a little bit, and then we're going to add some water and start to develop our sauce. So let's let that go. Right, so we just want to keep it moving because we don't want our onions and stuff to burn. We just want to soften them up a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add some water into our pot, and we're going to start making our gravy. So just put a decent amount in there. Next, we're going to add in some browning into our pot to give it some color. Not too much browning at a time because you don't want your food to get bitter. Okay, so then we're gonna add in some ketchup into it. So that's gonna just balance out the flavor of the browning and give it some sweetness in there. Next, we have our scallion and thyme that we washed up a little bit earlier. I'm gonna drop that in there as well. We have some crushed pimento seed, aka allspice, so we're just gonna drop that in there as well. We're just trying to develop a nice flavor for our sauce for our fish. I have some more of our Maggi all-purpose, so we're just gonna sprinkle some in there. We don't want to make our pot too salty. So this is looking good so far. You can see the color balancing out and everything looking good. So everything is just gonna cook up and you're gonna have a nice beautiful gravy to go along top of your fish. And we have our Scotch bonnet pepper fresh off the tree, washed up already. So we drop that in. Oh, this is gonna be all right. All right, people. So I added in a little bit of butter into the pot to you know, help thicken it up a little bit and also give it some flavor and texture. Look at that. That's looking so good right now. All of our natural seasonings in there. Our thyme, our scallion, onions, green pepper, Scotch bonnet pepper. If you want, you could put a little ginger in there. I don't have any right now, so, but normally I will put ginger in there. All-purpose seasoning, and I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret of mine. So this right here, fish sauce. Any fish dish that you make, steamed fish, brown stew fish, whatever fish, add a little tip in it, just like a capful. You don't really want too much, but it goes a long way. It just gives it a nice aroma and a nice fishiness that just makes your food different.
So it complements the fish.
It just complements it so good. So now this is looking good. Once we add in our salmon, it'll just bring everything together. It'll give that fishiness taste to it, as well as everything, and it'll all just stew down together. So I'll show you that in a minute. Stay tuned. All right, people, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of sugar into it just to help with the, just balance out the salty, sweet, and spicy. Get every little bit, but that sauce looks perfect. So now I'm about to add in our fish. So here's our fish from earlier. Now let's just add them in. Wow. Just want to add them in. This one broke a little bit on me, but it's okay. And get everybody all incorporated. Wow, that's gonna be so good.
Smell really good.
Smells good, look good, everything.
And the sauce just shoots up in the food.
Now what I like to do is just take a spoon and just ladle over all our fish. If you want, you could add carrots into this and it will spruce it up a little bit. So it's gonna add some juices all over. So the gravy is just gonna make everything so juicy and nice and tastes good. Brown stew salmon. If you never heard of brown stew salmon, you heard it here first. Yeah. So I'm just gonna let that cook, uncover, and then we'll be right back. Let's go check on our breadfruit. All right, so our breadfruit is looking almost finished and perfect. So just look at that. You see everywhere all around it is looking all roasted and nice. So you could see the texture of it. It's not hard, but nice and soft and roasted, and that's what I was looking for. So that's almost finished. Charcoal is almost out. I put the perfect amount of charcoal, and that's almost done. So maybe another 10 minutes or so, and that should be done. So stay tuned, and I'll show you the next step. Wow, people, look at that. That's pretty much done. You can see that gravy thickening up. The fish is cooking down in that gravy. It's gonna say so good. Just ladling over it. Every flavor incorporated. And this is gonna be good. Alright, so our breadfruit is looking good. So I just took it off the fire just to let it, you know, finish doing it, because the heat was still kind of cooking on the inside without it being on the fire. But those are roasted and ready to peel. Maybe this one could go back on for a minute, but they're pretty much done. They're roasted and ready to peel and eat. Just gonna do the cabbage and we're gonna finish, wrap up everything, and then move on to the next step. So just stay tuned. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We're gonna get the cabbage going. We're just gonna start off with a little bit of oil at the bottom of the pot just to get everything going. We're not deep frying it, but it's just to start the cooking process. Alright, so we have our cabbage already washed up, cut up, and ready to go into the pot. So we're just gonna drop that in. Perfect. The heat is perfect. We're just gonna get all the cabbage in there and let it cook down. It might seem like a lot right now, but when it starts to cook up, then it'll all reduce down. Alright, so we're just gonna move around that cabbage a little bit and just allow it to cook down. And what I also like to do is put in some mixed vegetables. So just some frozen mixed vegetables into it. So we're just gonna mix that up. It's a simple cabbage. I don't really do too much. You don't have to do too much with cabbage. Cabbage is a thing that's very easy to cook. And of course, you gotta have some seasoning. So we're just gonna put in our Maggi all-purpose. Put in a little bit at a time and get everything going. So mix that up and just let it cook down. Cook down. You know, you cook it down to, depending on your preference as far as the texture is concerned. I like my cabbage kind of like between crunchy and soft. So I'm just gonna allow it to cook down for a little while until I get to that texture that I want. Let me add a little bit more seasoning. Mm. 5 minutes, that's done. All the water from the cabbage is going down to the bottom to help steam it. I don't cover it. If you cover it, it might get too soft too quick on you, and you won't reach that texture that I love. But like I said, it's all in your preference. But that cabbage is looking good so far. And remember, you got the flavor from the fish and everything, so you don't have to make it crazy seasoned. So just stick with me, and I'll be right back to show you the next step. All right, come in, people. So our cabbage is pretty much done. It's cooked up lovely. It all reduced down. Everything cooked up together nicely. At this point, you would just salt to taste. Let me see. I'll put a little bit more seasoning, but it's still good. And just back cook up. Yeah, so that looks perfect. So I'm just gonna turn off my fire because that's done. Last but not least is our breadfruit, so let's check it out. We're just gonna do our breadfruit, peel our breadfruit. It's all done. So at this point, we just want to take off the skin and expose that beautiful breadfruit. All right, so we're just gonna peel it like an orange basically, and just get that breadfruit skin off of there. Look at that, beautiful. Beautiful breadfruit. very hot, so just be careful. Yeah.
Use a hand towel.
Yep, unless you got hands of steel. Yes, this is all that beautiful breadfruit. Only you could smell that. Hey, don't want to waste none. Soft and buttery and nice. So, just stay tuned. I'm gonna peel up the rest of these breadfruit and plate up some food, and it's almost time to eat. Alright, so yeah, we just cut the breadfruit in half, and we want to get out this part right here, which is they call the heart. So let's just cut it into 4. It's just easier to do that way, and then just get right under there and take that out. You don't want to waste a bunch of the meat out the breadfruit, so you just want to get that all cleaned up. Then, see, easy. And so now all we want to do is just plate up the food. So we're gonna just cut this piece of breadfruit here and put it on the plate. Cut this one here. Same thing. Alright, so this is the final product right here. We got everything plated out with our salmon, our breadfruit, and our cabbage. Dinner is gonna be something special tonight. Everything looks so good. Wow. Thank you guys for all your support, all your likes, and all your comments. This is the end. We got everything plated up and we're ready to eat. So once again, like, share, and subscribe. And, you know, keep pushing me to push more content out for you guys. But thanks for everything, and time to eat. So I'll see you guys later.